Hi, everybody. This is SAAD for the SAAD Truth. I've weighed in previously on what would constitute a rational and sane immigration policy that delicately balances the quest to be humane in helping those who are suffering through no fault of their own, but also maintaining the integrity of what it means to be a sovereign nation. Let me again reiterate that I am someone who comes from a war-torn country. My family and I escaped to have a better life in Canada. And so no one knows the value of the generosity and hospitality of the West more than me. That said, when I see what's going on at the borders of the United States, I'm certainly moved in that there are innocent children who are suffering through no fault of their own because of their parents' actions. But I'm not moved by arguments that somehow the U.S. is morally obligated to let in anybody who wishes to come into the United States. When you go to sleep at night and lock your door, you do so recognizing that there are endless people, homeless people, at times children who are homeless, who do not have the benefit of coming into your house and sleeping in your bed. That doesn't make you immoral. It simply recognizes that you as an individual cannot solve this pain and suffering of every living human being on earth. Now, you may be, as a moral person, you might try to help in various ways, but that doesn't mean that you suddenly let in everybody into your house. When you grant differential solicitude to your children more so than to random children of a stranger, that's not because you're immoral. It's because evolution has built your emotional and cognitive system to care more about your biological children than random children. By the same token, when you are part of a country of laws, you recognize that protecting or making sure that the laws of the land are adhered to doesn't make you immoral. It makes you a country of laws. People don't have the right to come to Canada, to the US, to the West, and simply demand entry because their countries are failed societies. Now, of course, what the progressives will ultimately argue is that those countries are failed societies because, it's the US's fault. It baffles me to see the manner by which progressives, and I put progressives in quotes because they're anything but true progressives, how they self-flagellate in their self-loathing. It doesn't make you virtuous to hate your society. At the individual level, if someone is exceptionally self-loathing, then you might consider that he or she should go into therapy to explore that. But somehow, if at the collective level you despise your society is apparently the cancer of humanity, and by your society I mean the West, then this is a very serious problem. In recorded history, there has never been a society that is as generous as let me just point now to my southern cousins in the United States. There's no society that's been as generous as the United States. Now, does that mean that it is a perfect society? Of course not. Does that mean that there isn't somebody in the United States who's racist? Of course not. Does the history of the United States contain elements that, in retrospect, one would only hope that these realities did not exist? Of course, yes. But collectively, using a societal accounting system, do we come up with the unequivocal conclusion that the United States has done astronomically more good to the world than bad? Yes. That's it. It's as simple as that. This is why everybody wants to come to the United States, right? This is why people don't line up to go to Cuba, to Saudi Arabia, to North Korea, and to the endless other places that people are desperate to escape. Now, that doesn't mean that because they are desperate to escape, that the only way for Americans to be moral is to say, feel free to all come in, no problem. because anything else would be racist and bigoted. I mean, it is impossible to imagine how someone could actually believe that this is a plausible position to hold. But again, by the way, most of the, I love this term, it's not my term, I'm not sure where it comes from, but champagne socialists, most of the champagne socialists are very keen on demonstrating how virtuous they are when it comes to the non-protection of national borders, but they certainly don't invite any folks who are illegal entrants into the country, into their homes in Malibu, right? So if you're so keen on having no borders because we are all one people, we all have two kidneys and a liver, we all have two eyes, we all bleed the same way, then let people into your own home, right? So the hypocrisy is astonishing. The emotional temper tantrums are astonishing. Yes, of course, no one wants to see innocent children who've done nothing wrong suffer in any way. But who's putting them in that position? Is it not their parents who knowingly come to the border knowing that this is a very likely possibility, and yet they choose to do it because they're basically putting an emotional gun to the United States heads and saying, you either let us in without any questions, or if you do anything else, then there'll be some champagne socialists and progressives who will accuse you of being racists. I studied in the United States. I did my Master's of Science and my PhD at Cornell. I've been a professor at Dartmouth College, at Cornell University, my alma mater, and at University of California, Irvine. I love the United States. I have the exactly correct dossier to hopefully gain entry into the United States, and yet I have to go through a process as a Canadian if I wish to be in the United States. Why is it that I have to adhere to laws when I want to bring in my family to the United States, but other people don't? Is it because they have a slightly darker skin than me that allows them to do that? A country of laws means it is applied to everybody. There is nothing racist in protecting your country and protecting the immigration policy of your society. That's what makes you a country. I don't know how many times this has to be repeated. I don't know when the cancer of progressivism will be eradicated from our collective unconscious. Ooh, look at that Jungian reference. In any case, let me reiterate, there are endless ways by which a society can be moral, kind, and just. Opening its border to anybody who comes to the border and demands to be let in is not one of them. Have a good day, everybody.